Hello, Year 7. Today we're doing some harder questions involving finding the perimeter of sectors and composite shapes. So we're going to go straight into a few examples. We want to find the perimeter of these shapes correct to one decimal place. Now in A here, this is a normal sector, just like what we were doing in last lesson's work. So we have a formula for this one, and the formula was P for perimeter equals theta over 360 times by 2 pi r plus an extra 2r on the end to find the full perimeter. So remember that the theta, that funny thing on the top of that fraction there, is the angle that we're given in our question. Now for this one, there's a right angle there, which means that we want 90 degrees. So let's sub that into our formula. 90 over 360 times by 2 pi times r. Now the radius is the 11, so times 11 plus 2 lots of the radius, which is another 2 times 11. And finally we type that into our calculator. So using the fraction button, 90 over 360 times, whoops, let's move that out the side, times 2 pi times 11 plus 2 times 11. Okay, so we're doing one decimal place, which means we want the 0.2, but because there's a 7 after the 2, we need to round that up to be a 3. So 39.3 millimeters. Okay, but for these other two questions that I've got down here, these aren't just normal sectors. They're shapes that involve circles or parts of circles, but there's also some other straight sides in here that aren't just in the normal sector shape. So what we want to do, we can't just use this formula. We can't use that formula, unfortunately. That only works for your normal sector. What we need to do is kind of adapt what we've been doing. What I like to do is always start with the circular parts of the question. Now if I look at B, I have half of a circle on this end and half of a circle on that end. Now there's no need for me to do those two parts separately. All together there I have one whole circle with a diameter of 48. Okay, so if I want to find the perimeter, I just need to know the circumference or the formula for the circumference of a circle given the diameter, which is the formula pi d. Now that will only tell me these curved parts that I have written down or that I've traced over there in red. I will then have to add on the straight sides to find the full perimeter. So I'll have to add 50 for the bottom one and another 50 for the top straight side. Now I've kind of half substituted into this formula already by putting those 50s in there, but I also need to substitute in the d. So let's do that on the second line. I have pi times by my diameter, which is 48, plus the two straight sides, which are 50 and 50. Okay, then we type that in the calculator. So pi times 48 gives me the curved part, plus 50 plus 50. Now we're doing one decimal place, so that will be 250.8. And the units are meters. Okay, one more question here to do. Remember I said that I always like to start with the curved part first. Now for this one, I have got a right angle in here, so it means I have a 90-degree part of a circle here. So to find the perimeter, I'm going to use my arc length formula, which is theta over 360 times by 2 pi r. Okay, that will tell me this curved green part. Then I need to add on all the straight sides. Now, some of them are missing. I have 10 on the top, which means I'll have 10 on the bottom here. But this part along the bottom, how long is that going to be? Well, we have a rectangle, so 5 here means 5 there. And because this is a quarter of a circle that we've got here, This point here would be the center of the circle, so those two sides would be the radius, or the radii. So this one here would be 5 as well. Okay, so I now can add on all those straight sides. I'm going to start at the top and go clockwise. 10, I've already done the curved part, plus 5, plus 10, plus 5. Okay, substituting into that, I need to put the 90 degrees in there for theta, times 2 pi times the radius, which is 5. Then I add on all my straight parts. Okay, and type that in the calculator. So it looks quite messy. There's a lot of numbers in there to type in. So just be careful as you type it that you don't miss any bits. Make sure you don't confuse your pluses and your times signs. So you're timesing the 2 pi and the 5, but you are adding on all the extra straight ones. So plus 10, plus 5, plus another 10, plus another 5. And we get 37.9 when we round that up. Okay, so there is some tricky questions in there today. Take your time and be careful with them. You are doing exercise 6, which is on page 17 to 19 of your workbook.